So let's first talk about the drivers for rising bandwidth in the data center. First thing is that the server and the compute power in a server is massively growing. I mean, there's Moore's law, that's a reality. But the ability to handle more functions and more applications within a server is certainly growing, and that has a bandwidth requirement as a result of that. Also, the compute power within the server is then requiring more I/O to go through that server. The intensity of the compute power and the fact that it needs to push more data on an east to west basis means more I/O has to happen in that server, and that can mean a few things. That can mean more server connections, and those could be both virtual as well as physical connections. It can also mean that the amount of and kinds of workloads that are pushed from server to server are going to fluctuate and in some cases get significantly larger. So there are several things that are driving bandwidth within the data center between compute power growing, increased workloads, the different kinds of workloads, and the traffic flows in terms of how applications and data is moving across the network that's having a direct impact on what the server needs to push out in order to keep up with those workloads. And as a result, we moved from 1 gig to 10 gig, and now we're moving on from there to actually to 25, 50, and 100 gig. So that bandwidth is actually going to continue to progress. And what I want to just note here from an Ixia perspective in terms of what we're doing here. So first of all, as you know, we are the validation solution for our customers in order for them to build the switches they need to serve this data center market. So as was mentioned, I ran the networking business unit at HP, which, believe it or not, I know this is a little known fact, but we were number 2 in the market. And I'm not sure if that still is the case, but we sold a lot of switches and continue to sell a lot of switches. And the fact of the matter is, in the data center, that ratcheting up of bandwidth was an absolute requirement for us as a network equipment manufacturer. And so from an Ixia perspective, guess what? We need to be ahead of the network equipment manufacturers with solutions, validation solutions that will ensure that when it comes time to test performance on those devices, that can be done. And in fact, what we've done today and what we're actually demoing is our 25 gig validation or test solution here at the event. And this is a first in the industry again. So it's very unique. It's using a 100 gig chip and basically 4 lanes, turning that into a 4-lane 25 gig compute opportunity. So very exciting for Ixia, and frankly exciting for our customers, because they know the first that we have gone through over the last several years, and this is yet again another first. So as a result of moving to 25 gig, what does that get the customer? Well, it gets them a significant amount more bandwidth in a smaller space. And as you may know, the density requirements associated with servers in the data center, is getting more and more important. And the loss of the lack of power and the inability to continue to grow massive footprints of data centers, is really taking its toll. So what does that mean? That means that data centers need to shrink those servers down, and they need to consume less power, and they frankly need to have smaller footprints and potentially be mobile. And as a result of that, 25 gig is there to offer a very good solution, because it has more bandwidth in a smaller space and provides more performance. So it's really great. And as a result, we're able to support that with our customers. So you will see 25 gig coming out probably the end of this year in terms of customer products. Because why? Because the bandwidth demand is there, and it's there now.